Hi everyone, this is Cindy from Life of Oneness, and I just wanted to share a method that I teach to a lot of my clients, and that method is called the LILIAA method, and that stands for love, intention, listen, intuition, asking, and action. And I care a lot about sharing this process with you so that you can expand your life to facilitate being in alignment and oneness and become the person that you knew you were always meant to be and to live the life that you knew you've always been meant to live. But maybe some part of that was out of alignment or unclear. And so this process will help to take you through the steps and balance what it is that you want to create and show you what areas that you're focusing on maybe too heavily and maybe not enough on the others. So let's get started here. So the LILIAA process is basically um, working with the idea that you're always in this now moment. So this is you right here in this now moment. And you're never in the past, you're never in the future, but often we're thinking about the past and the future. But this is your wheel of life right here. So I'm just going to draw this little wheel. You're always in this little bubble right here. And often what keeps you from being in control of this wheel and steering it is some things get in the way. And there's three things here that can often get in the way, which are the root cause of most feelings that you have that keep you out of alignment. And that's anger, fear, and doubt. Okay. So those three things can keep you from being in control of this wheel here. And often we get stuck in these areas and we see them as roadblocks. But what if all of the experiences that you've had and all of the struggles that you're currently going through were a doorway? Okay, it's kind of a crooked doorway, but all right. So what if everything that you're going through right now is a point of transformation for you to step through that doorway into a bigger and greater, more expanded you, so that you can now start to release these things that are blocking you and use them as a point of transformation to step into that doorway. Because you're never going to be, anger, fear, and doubt are either based on something that's happened that made you angry, something that happened that makes you fearful of the future in the past, and then fearful or doubtful of what's happening in the future based on what you know of the past. And none of those are living in the now moment. So when you're living in the now moment, you're going to be in total alignment and total awareness. And so before you can be in control of this wheel, you have to make sure that these things do not end up inside your wheel here through that doorway. Okay, you recognize them, but you don't let them through the doorway into your little happy bubble here. Okay, it doesn't mean don't feel them, but just acknowledge them as something to transform you into being more centered and more control here, okay? So if you want to step out of this wheel and get into the steering portion of this wheel, then you want to step out and be in love. And that is just being clear, meaning that you're clear of any of these past and future thoughts that are keeping you out of alignment. You're recognizing them, appreciating them, honoring them, and then moving into a choice, which is to choose love and joy. Because the only thing that brings joy is more joy. And joy is like a magnet that is going to bring you more of all of what you desire. So joy creates all that you desire. Okay? And equally, all of these things create things that you don't desire. Okay? So they're both magnets in their own way, but it's up to you to always choose to be in that space of joy. So that you know that even though maybe things are not perfect the way you want them right now, you still have to choose those moments of joy so that your energy is sending out this broadcast of joy and alignment, because the universe doesn't understand your actions. It doesn't understand your words even so much, but it does understand your energy. And so you can say, I want this, I want that, I'm trying to create this and that. But if your basic energy is stress and struggle and strife, then you're just going to keep attracting more of those situations. So you're kind of like a radio broadcast where you're listening to music, but you don't understand the language. right? So if you're listening to Spanish music and it's like hardcore metal, then, but they're saying happy things, then you might just hear hardcore metal and think it's this stressful music, but they're saying, oh, I love my life and da da da, but it's like, So anyway, moving along. So once you get into that love space, then you can start to set intentions. Now, often we set intentions, but we're setting them from a place of lack, fear, anger, or doubt. And so what's backing that intention is just going to keep kicking back into this wheel, and then suddenly the wheel's going to go out of control, and then you're back to being like a hamster in a wheel. Okay, so we don't want to be a hamster. All right, so setting those intentions backed by that love, and I do things like I'll get up and do something that makes me joyful. I'll listen to a favorite song or a motivational song, or I'll get up and dance and move with that music and just feel good in my body before I set my intentions for the day. Okay, and then when you can set your intentions, then you can get into the place of listening. And listening is just allowing yourself to be receptive to what Spirit is trying to guide you by, giving you little inspirations and your intuition. So sometimes you'll have these little inspirations and ideas, but you don't follow through on them because they're not in alignment with what your brain thinks is right. It's not from your logic. But that's exactly right. It's not from your logic, so it doesn't make sense to you because it's coming from a higher source of inspiration. And that's where intuition comes in, where you start to feel and sense things that you might not already know, wouldn't have known or thought about. So follow those little inspirations. I mean, you've at least got a 50-50 chance if you follow through on that. And if you don't, then you've got zero chance. So just, take little baby steps and just kind of follow those little nudges and inspirations along the way. All right. And so then when you get in, you feel like you're kind of going in a good path here and you're feeling good, you're setting intentions, you're being inspired, but maybe things aren't quite working out the way that you had planned, or maybe everything you wanted worked out exactly the way you planned, but then you're like, oh, actually, I didn't realize it also is important for me to have this component or this value for it to be right for me, whether it's a job or relationship or whatever it is. Then you can ask. You can ask for clarity, you can ask for alignment, you can ask for more or less, or speed up or slow down, or be introduced to people that can give you the information that you need. Whatever it is, you can ask for help. You can even ask your friends. You don't always have to ask, Creator or Spirit for it, but you can ask your friends for support or knowledge, whatever that it needs. And so, listening and asking are both very receptive things, and it puts you in a very receiving mode, because often what we want to do is output. We want to work, 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 and go action, 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 create, 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 do, 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 but then we don't leave the doorway open. So this is also, being in this bubble here isn't, being in control of this wheel is an exit, but there's also an entryway here. So you have to allow it to flow both ways, because otherwise you're just depleting your bubble of energy here. You have to receive energy in what as well. So being receptive, is a part of listening and asking. Some of these other things are more kind of action oriented. So you have to balance that masculine and feminine action and receptivity in order to balance that wheel. Okay, so let's see here. So we're going into asking, and so the next phase of that, just clarifying, what is that you need. Then you can put things into action. And often we just go right to action and we don't align with what it is that we want to do, or we'll say intentions and we'll go right to action and we'll skip over all these other important receptive feminine aspects. And so action can, and the greatest action that you can take to be in alignment is to just choose joy, to do whatever feels good, as long as you're being within integrity. But do things that make you happy, that bring joy. Go for a walk. There's never going to be a tomorrow to go on that hike that you've wanted to go on. There's never going to be a tomorrow to say, I'm going to meditate today because it feels good, or exercise. Like, you have to intend and also plan and make an action plan for these things to line up. Okay. So then let's see here. And the difference here is that when you're allowing yourself to be out of alignment, that's putting you in a victim mode, which is powerless. Okay, so it's time for you to decide. Do you want to be a victim or you want to be a creator? And you can co-create by choosing joy. And the other day, my son, no, it wasn't my son, it was one of my patients was asking me, how do I stay in alignment? How do I find happiness? I'm like, you don't find it. You choose it. Because there's always going to be somebody that's going to cut you off in traffic. There's always going to be, some boss who's a jerk, and you have to choose to make, set intentions and align with what it is that's bringing you joy and take action steps and intentions and align with that in order to draw that more to you. But as well, you get to decide how much you're going to let that negative emotion inside your bubble. Otherwise, you're being a hamster alone, you're being a victim. But when you're choosing love, then you are powerful. And you're a co-creator with spirit and with the energy of life. Okay, so it's just like a boat. There can be lots of waves and storms and winds, and there can be sun on the other side. And you may not be able to control the weather, but you get to decide which way you want to steer that boat. Or if you're in the middle of the storm and you can't get anywhere near sunshine, you can just say, well, I've been through this before. I'm a good sailor. I'm just going to steer right through it and get to the other side and start making better choices about the way and, being aware of like what's coming ahead with storms and planning ahead. So let me see if there's anything else that I missed here. Yeah, I mean, it's always up to you to choose to be in a state of love, joy, and alignment. Even if things around you are not what you desire, you can always say, I really look forward to when blah, 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 blah. Don't say things are horrible now. Just look forward to what it is that you're creating. Okay. So thank you so much for watching this. If you would like further coaching on this, feel free to reach out to me. I do have a class coming up in March. It's a group online class, or I do individual sessions, and of course, medical intuition and healing as well. You can find me on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. Just look at the links below, and many blessings to you, and have a beautiful, joyful day.